in a loop.
Well,
You guys, everybody who's hearing that, please do that as well.
We dig it. Thank you.
all right, so the answer is 140,000 times.
All right.
It's
It's
anywhere
a
between
tie.
like 0.006 and 0.0084 cents for every time a song is played.
My math was still wrong. I was like, 1 billion times? All right. Any more questions? That's
No,
it?
that was it.
That was it.
That
All
was
right.
it.
It
You
was a
guys do it
tie.
2-3.
Seraphonics. Good job. You guys tied me, which I'm the whole standing champion. Of the
Actually, you were not the standing champion, but
This doesn't go to Jello wrestling for the tiebreaker because that would
No,
be really
no, no,
awkward.
I want to see some jujitsu. If
Yeah.
anyone doesn't know, Jeremy does jujitsu.
yeah.
That's why we keep making the joke.
Shout out to my friends at Kushan BJJ. Thank you very much. You guys have been very, very supportive of me, and I love all of you guys.
And yesterday, you did a tournament, and you're still able to get up today to do this recording.
True story. I'm a little stiff, but I'm fine.
Yeah, good.
There you go.
All right,
Which is usual for BJJ. There you go. Go ahead.
Really needed that extra J.
all right. So going back to what we were talking about earlier with,
Wait,
but
I had a question.
yeah. All right, we're not
Okay.
going to go back.
I have to do the typical question that we do in interviews, which is the only question I have because he has all the questions. So, influences.
Ooh.
That's it. Is that good?
No, it's a great question.
Okay,
So I
great.
think we kind of all come from different backgrounds on these things. Jeremy and I really, when we put this together, we came with a lot of 1970s prog rock, early 90s grunge rock, classic rock, alternative rock and things like that. Very rock driven, even though our technique and playing might come from slightly different influences than that. But as far as what we were trying to go with in our songwriting, it was just a big driver. Everything from Yes, Zeppelin, Soundgarden, Radiohead, and Tool. Definitely, I think probably hits really high on the list on that.
That's cool.
I think the
can see
song "Faithfully" to me has a little bit of a Tool sound to it. I don't know if that was thought out while you guys were doing the song.
It almost kind of writes itself into everything at this point,
Right.
and not saying that we're on that level, but just that it's sort of
You can say
it's
it.
in our DNA.
Yeah.
We're on that
Be
level.
confident.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Be
Oh,
confident
okay.
about your stuff.
I like the humbleness of it.
Our humble approach is just so it's great for people to listen to. So here's what I would say about that. I think that there is a sense of atmosphere that we were very, very consciously trying to create when we wrote the songs. So one of the things that happens with songwriting is that you will write the notes of the song and you'll say, okay, here are the arpeggios. Okay, here is the bass line. Here is how the drums go. Here is where you play the cymbals. Here is where the hi-hat goes. Here are all of the parts. And you will write all that part out. And then you will say to yourself, all right, well, when it's on a recording, the person is going to be maybe listening to this 40, 50, 100 times. It has to be something that's interesting over and over again. It can't just be interesting on the first listen and then you're done with it. So what winds up having to happen is you have to have the songs occur within a place. And so one of the things that I spent a lot of time worrying about was I didn't want the songs to sound like the place they were occurring was in a bedroom, which is actually what happened. That's
Where it
actually
was occurring.
right. They were
Them being recorded there.
right, exactly. They were being recorded in, somebody's Florida room or somebody's family room, or we would mic the drum up and be in there. But I wanted the songs to have a sense of place to them. And one of the things I'm the proudest of in this album is that if you listen to Faithfully, it sounds like it's occurring on the top of some weird psychotic mountain.
Right.
And
I did get that. When I heard you guys playing, it sounded like, I don't know if Queens of the Stone Age is like any, but like kind of the dissonance stuff. Like it took me to like a desert kind of sound, which they have. That's why it reminded me of it. Not because you guys sound like them, but because they take me sometimes to like kind of deserty kind of places. Like they're more like instrumental-ish stuff, and that's where it kind of took me to. Like very like desolate desert, kind of like the soloing and stuff like that. So it was really cool.
And
I
it
can
was
see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was extremely important for me to create that. I remember finishing all of the songs and having all of the tracks there and having all of the instruments done. And Noah's bass parts were done. Sean's drum parts were done. My guitar parts were done. And I was like, okay, guys, here's the basic tracks. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to work on the atmospheric stuff, and I'm going to keep going. And so, basically what I did is I took a Strymon delay pedal, which is a very, very nice pedal. It's like one of the best pedals on the market. And I worked through all these permutations with different amps and different miking techniques, and I basically just tried to create noise that gave the song a sense of place.
Right.
So you'll sort of notice that there's this part during Faithfully that's almost like a tremolo effect where it's like, and there's this real echo that goes with it, and it makes the song happen in a place. It takes it out of the living room. It takes the listener out of the living room, and it puts them into the place where the song is.
Right.
And it was very, very important for me to establish that. I wanted to make sure that those songs had that.
Yeah. No, there's great atmosphere in those songs.
So next time we do the podcast, we're going to go out to a mountain or a desert, and we'll record it there so that it's at the right place at the right time.
That's perfect.
And all that stuff, all that like background ambience stuff, that's probably comes from a lot of Jeremy's and Noah's influences. My influences, I got my first drum set at 16, and I got into because my friends wanted to start a garage band.
What'd you get?
I got a little 4-piece CB drums, and my mom's light blue Windstar. Drove up to Daytona Beach and got the kit from a little music shop up there.
That's cool.
Cheap set, but it was great.
That's a good set, man.
Played my influences. I came from a little surf town, New Smyrna Beach. We were in the punk rock type of scene, so Blink 182,
Right.
Green Day, MXPX, NoFX,
Nice.
Rancid type stuff.
All great stuff.
That's what we were
Yeah, I
playing.
love that.
That's my influences. And then when I get into this band, they're like all these like things, and there's like feelings of like sounds and some melodic. I'm like, oh. I'm like, all right, so I had a lot of different changing to do. Then we get into the argument. They bring the argument. I'm like, yeah, this is my wheelhouse right here. Like,
Right. Well,
here we go.
Sean wrote the argument. So, and this is a fun track, and I hope the listeners really get a chance. By the way, go on to Spotify and listen to the argument
Multiple times.
Yeah. Well, listen, if
At least 140,000.
140,000 would be the correct number. So, fun facts about the argument. This is really neat. It starts with this pastor from Kentucky named the Reverend Charles Lawson. And he is one of those sort of old school fire and brimstone teachers that thinks his sermons are so fantastic that he put them all up on the internet so that everybody could know how much he loves Jesus and hates the devil and wanted to show all of you. So we sort of use that a little bit sarcastically at the beginning of the song. So if you listen, it sort of starts with the line, "He awakened," and there's a lot of guitar feedback on it. And, for anybody that finds that offensive, I apologize, but it is used a little tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, right.
And Sean wrote that lick. So there was a sort of running joke around the Seraphonics, which was like a sort of, what are you doing? What have you done for the band lately? Right? And, Noah and are like, we're contributing as writers. We're doing this.
Noah and Jeremy would get together by themselves most of the time to work on the songs together, and then they bring those songs to practice with me all the time.
And so this is a true story.
And then this one, Jeremy's like, so here's my idea for the drum part. So I would basically listen to what he had to say. If it sounded good. Then I'd probably most of the times modify it a little bit or a lot, depending on
He wouldn't notice.
what's realistic.
Right. And so what wound up happening was finally we looked at Sean. And so most of the time I would say, here's the demo, here's the idea for the drum part. What can you do with this? And Sean would be like, I like that, I don't like that. And he'd sort of go through this process of either accepting things or dumping things and doing them his way. But for this particular song, we were like, look, we've written a lot, Sean. We feel like you should write something now. And Sean is like, how do I fucking write a song? Are you guys serious? I don't write. I don't do anything. Basically, what we told him was we said, well, usually when we start with something that we like to play. And so, God damn it, if Sean didn't go, bam, ba-dum, 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 bam. He's like, I guess if you guys want something I like to play this.
Yeah.
Best song as far as timing to write it and put it all together, everything just fell immediately into place.
That's awesome.
And so it just...
And it's Sean's
It's
song.
absolutely the shortest song we've ever written.
Well, I gotta say, I listened to the album.
Shortest
And I
time.
really enjoy that song a lot.
We enjoy playing it because it's really fun. There's something about the idea when a song sort of stops for the lyrics, because if you listen to the song on Spotify, that's exactly what it does. It sort of goes through all these permutations and then everything stops. Jose has his first line, I said I love you, but I lied. And then the song sort of barrels on. There's something about that that's very arresting, and live audiences respond to it really, really well. So we enjoy playing that song live.
Because with drumming, a lot of times you do ask drummers, you play something now. and they're looking at you blank face, kind of like, what? Like, what do you mean? I follow you. And I'm like, no, because when a drummer gives you something, it's like a playground. It's like, now I can, here's the jungle gym. Like, I can play this and that and everything. But if I have to do something and you follow, it's a lot, like, with drums, it's like, okay, well, here's the beat that you're doing, But that's really cool. I can almost sense what that must have been like. Oh, man, like, here's this thing that he gave me. Now let me run with it. Thank you.
That's exactly the process that we went through.
Yeah.
And we were like, he played that, and I just looked at Noah and I said, Noah, I think this song is just going to be D and C.
Right.
Bam, ba bum bum, ba bum 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 ba bum bum, and that was it. That was like the whole song that we came up with. I had a little chorus lick that I had sort of had in the toy box for a while that we pulled out. That was sort of this D, E, F, G, this sort of ascending line. But beyond that, it's a very, very simple song. And sometimes the best songs are the simplest.
Yeah, 100%.
You start putting all of that together, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you have something right in front of you. And of course, it's really nice. It's really nice when you can include the drummer who is, and I say this with Sean sitting right next to me, so I am in punching distance, who is not, he does not consider himself a writer. Like, he is not like, I'm out.
No, I definitely do that.
Right. He's not out there
you
like.
did, so there you go.
Right. He's not out there saying, listen, I'm the songwriter of the group, and I dictate this, and I dictate that. And so it's nice to be able to take something and take his contribution and really make it sing and make it shine. And I think it's important to, the stability of the band.
That's really
that we're
cool.
able to grab that riff and make it work.
And when you do that, you're bringing a piece, like really bringing a piece of him into what the band is and everything like that. Just not just playing along. It's just, this is a piece of me, and you guys can work with it. And so I think that's really cool.
I have no problem just playing along.
Right, but it's still like.
I would tell them like, hey, put the if you guys come up with a guitar lick or a bass lick, for ideas for a new song, send it out, and I'll like listen to it and play along on my drums to come up with some sort of like accompaniment.
I just want to put my 2 cents into this. Jeremy just said something. I had this. He said, and I quote, something to the effect of, I just had this little lick called, DE in my box in the back. Jeremy literally has a box in his head of, he can listen to something and it'd be like, oh yeah, that's like this obscure song on the B-side of this tape that does this, that I know exactly, And Jeremy's always like, I have this, box of stuff in the back of my mind that's always playing. So he has a zillion different like riffs and stuff. It'd be like, oh yeah, I can do this because it's from this song. Da da da. I just find that pretty cool about him.
But I think also one of the things that Jeremy does is that he has all these pieces, and one of the things that he does very brilliantly is that it's connecting the songs to each other.
Right.
A lot of times, my standard method would be, hey, song ends, okay, and now we pick up the next song.
Right.
But he wants to build a bridge.
Next song.
Right. Yeah. He wants to build a bridge.
Right.
Maybe not with every song, because sometimes you need to let something rest.
Yeah.
But when he finds a way to kind of create it so it builds a narrative, each song fades into the next, has something that's taking you from one place to the next. As each song is written in that place, how do you transport that to the next place? And he does a really great job with that. That's all him. I could take zero credit on it, and that's something he has.
And it goes across.
Jeremy's crying right now.
And it goes across you guys know all the repertoire that we have. We have certain songs that will be like, oh, we have to do this song behind this song. We can never change that because X song ends in arpeggio that's here. So it needs this, so we only have 2 songs that can fit that. So it's like we can never like be crazy about, hey, I'm going to do this song today because what the hell? Nope, it can't happen. Because it's this is the second album. It's cross albums that he's able to make that you guys are able to mix it because the songs are all regurgitations of each other. They don't sound it, but they are in the building of them.
And those actual like transitions between songs you hear on the album, that came up during almost an argument at the very end of the album. We were trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do for cuts? Where does on a track, where does one song end, the other song begin? Because some people will buy an album to listen to the whole album, whereas some people that song is going to be in a shuffle mix on someone's playlist.
That's right.
And we're like, who all? I don't want to like cut into like almost the middle of a part of a song, but you got to let the last song end. So where do we end one song or do we start another?
I think it's like
led to a lot of
5
conversations.
and 6 go together, and